Good afternoon. My name's John Fussell. I'm with the Tree of Life Educational Fund. The Tree of Life Educational Fund is an organization that has been bringing Americans over to Palestine so that they can witness with their own eyes what the devastation, the human tragedy that's going on there, and that's supported by our government. To the tune of $3.8 billion a year, we give to the state of Israel, 25% of their defense budget. So what is going on there is something that our government is complicit in. And following up on the statements that were just made, there's many things in a democratic society that we can do and that we should be doing. We should be supporting boycott, divestment, sanctions movement to put pressure on Israel to change its policies. There are two pieces of legislation right now, one in the House, one in the Senate. It's House 1697 or Senate Bill 720, which is seeking to criminalize people that support boycott, divestment, sanctions. You should write to your state congresspeople, to your congresspeople, to your senators, and make sure that they're opposing that bill. Unfortunately, here in Connecticut, Senator Blumenthal is supporting that bill. And it's a bill that really attacks our First Amendment rights to protest and to speak out against inhumane policies. It's a tool. Boycotts, divestments, and sanctions were tools that were used to fight apartheid in South Africa. It was used also in the civil rights movement. It's been used in a number of movements, and it should be used here as well. It's interesting. It's a non-violent form of resistance. Palestinians are frequently attacked for, quote, being terrorists. But when they adopt and embrace non-violent forms of protest, well, look at what's happened with the Great March. They still met with bullets. They're still shot down. Our government needs to stand up and say no. They need to do what Eisenhower did when he stepped in and said to Israel when they invaded Egypt in the Sinai that they were going to cut off aid. Carter also stood up to the Israeli lobby to some degree. But it's been a long time since we've had any politics in this country that's willing to stand up. That starts with each of us. And so today, when you leave here, call your congressperson, write your congressperson, tell them that you do not want them to support H.R. 697 or Senate Bill 720. There's another piece of legislation that we can support that's a pro-Palestinian piece of legislation in Congress, and that is H.R. 4391. It's a bill that was introduced by Betty McCollum, a Democrat from Minnesota, and that bill would simply do this. It would simply say to the State Department, you have an obligation to audit the $3.8 billion that we give to Israel each year to make sure that that money is not used for the arrest and detention of Palestinian children throughout the West Bank. As you know, in the West Bank, they're under military occupation. They're under a military government, right? They do not have due process. These kids, if they're involved in demonstrations or protests, they get arrested in the middle of the night. Soldiers come into their home, take them out, blindfold them, bring them down to a location far away, and then try to talk to them about signing, some kind of a statement that's in Hebrew, a language that they don't even speak, right? So this is 500 to 700 children are arrested every year in the West Bank. And this bill would simply say that we have to audit to make sure that our money is not used for that purpose. Of the $3.8 billion a year that is given to Israel, about 800 of it, they really have no idea where it goes, right? And so they really want to focus on this. We have right now 23 congressional sponsors of that bill. However, none of the Connecticut congressional delegation has supported it so far. We've met with Larson, we've met with Esty, we've met with Courtney, we've talked to them about it. I know that there's people in here that are trying to set up meetings with DeLauro and also with Himes, with Jim Himes. But we need to have people write to them and tell them, support HR 4391. Don't be afraid to stand up. It shouldn't take a tremendous amount of moral courage to protect children. Anyway, so I just wanted to leave you those few thoughts. Thank you.